Hello, seeker. Hello, soul yearning for light. Tell me, do you ever feel a raging storm inside you? Like two distinct voices are locked in a relentless debate, tearing your very being apart, leaving you wondering which one to trust, which path to follow. Does it ever happen that you set these incredible high aspirations for yourself? You strive for harmony, for that deep, unshakable peace. But then time and time again, you find yourself ensnared by old habits, by gnawing doubts, by an inexplicable inner heaviness. You crave lightness, clarity, that effortless flow, but instead you feel this constant resistance, as if an invisible force is dragging you back into the swamp of daily grind and quiet disappointment. Is this feeling familiar to you? This ache in your heart, this longing for something more, for true, profound meaning, while your mind bombards you with 1,000 reasons why it's impossible, why you're not worthy, or why it's all just an empty dream? We live in a world, don't we, that constantly screams at us, look outside. Find your happiness in achievements, in external validation, in material possessions. We're conditioned to compare ourselves to others, to chase after ideals that are often imposed upon us, not born from within. And so, we run, we stumble, we achieve something, maybe even many things. But that promised sense of fulfillment, that deep contentment, it just never fully arrives. It's a paradox, isn't it? The harder we search on the outside, the more acutely we feel that inner void. We try to fill it with fleeting pleasures, with temporary fixes, but they only numb the soul's persistent call for a little while. But what if I told you that all this time, you've been looking in the wrong place? What if the key to your authentic self, to your unshakable strength and your ultimate freedom has always been and always will be right there inside you? There is a profound, almost forgotten truth, a truth so powerful it can revolutionize your entire perception of yourself and the world around you. It's this: there is a higher power, a source of all existence. Call it the universe, God, divine intelligence, life force. The name doesn't change its essence. And this power isn't some distant, judgmental entity. It is boundless, unconditional love, a love that has already gifted you with everything you truly need. Yes, you. Before you even drew your first breath, you were immeasurably precious and deeply loved. Think about that for a moment. You weren't created by accident, not as some cosmic afterthought. You are a unique, unrepeatable masterpiece, carrying within you a spark of the divine. Everything that surrounds you, this incredible, vibrant world, was conceived as a playground for your growth, a stage for your unique expression. You weren't just created, you were liberated from the shackles of illusion, from the bondage of ignorance, by being given the greatest gift of all, the power of conscious choice, the opportunity to discover and embrace your true, magnificent nature. This isn't some abstract philosophical concept. It's the living reality of your soul. And every single moment, this loving power sustains you, protects you, guides you through the gentle whispers of your intuition, through synchronicities, through those sudden flashes of insight. It provides nourishment for your soul and spirit, offering a lesson in every experience, an opportunity to grow stronger through every challenge. Just pause for a second and try to absorb the sheer depth of this honor, this incredible, unwavering love directed specifically at you. How can something so vast, so majestic, show such tender care for us in our smallness, in our moments of feeling lost and doubtful? If we so readily express gratitude, respect, and appreciation to earthly leaders, or even just to people who do us a small kindness, imagine then the immeasurable response, the profound alignment that is deserved by the one who is the very source of life itself, who loves us so deeply and faithfully that it's beyond any human measure. And it's not just about gratitude for the gifts received. This divine presence, this majestic power, in and of itself, is worthy of us striving with all our hearts to live in harmony with it, to serve light and love, simply because it is our truest nature, our most profound, innate need. Now let's journey inward. Within this inner cosmos of yours, a relentless, sometimes unseen, but always palpable battle rages on. It's the battle of two wills, Two voices, two distinct currents of energy that exist within every single one of us. One voice belongs to our higher, rational spiritual self. Let's call it the voice of your soul, or your higher self. This voice consistently, gently, nudges you towards light, towards truth, towards love, towards growth, towards connection. It's quiet, calm, yet persistent. It speaks the language of intuition, inspiration, and conscience. The other voice, however, belongs to our sensory, instinctual, ego-driven self. Let's call this the voice of the ego, or your lower self. This voice is often loud, demanding, and rooted in fear, doubt, old wounds, and limiting beliefs. It craves instant gratification, comfort, the avoidance of pain at all costs, and self-aggrandizement, often at the expense of others. It pulls you towards stagnation, separation, and ultimately self-sabotage. And here's the critical insight. Neither a good desire in itself nor a bad one automatically makes you good or bad. Everything, and I mean everything, is determined by your free choice, your conscious decision. When you deliberately choose to listen to the voice of your soul and follow its guidance, even when it requires effort, even when it feels uncomfortable, you are performing an act of creation. You are growing. You are co-creating your reality in harmony with that higher power. But when you yield to the persuasions of the ego, when you act out of fear or succumb to fleeting whims, you miss an opportunity, you stray further from your authentic path. These two voices are constant companions. As soon as a luminous impulse arises, perhaps to forgive someone, to start a new, meaningful project, to help someone in need, the ego immediately pipes up with its doubts. What's in it for you? Zrenia, Venus Sposobny. Logically, you'll just get hurt again. Conversely, when the temptation arises to criticize, to hold a grudge, to be lazy, the voice of your soul gently reminds you, this will only bring temporary relief, followed by bitterness, or you are capable of so much more. Your choice, your decision in that moment, that's what determines who wins this internal battle. Right here, right now. And in this, my friend, lies the entire essence of your spiritual journey, your unseen but profoundly important work on yourself. The purpose of this journey, this inner work, is to learn to consistently, in every situation, make the choice in favor of your higher self, the voice of your soul. For it is this voice that reflects the will of the source, that very higher power, and following it is the fundamental law of our harmonious existence. As one ancient wisdom text puts it, hold reverence for the divine and live by its principles of harmony and love, for this is the whole of humankind. Both these inner voices, like two powerful magnets, pull at your will, each seeking to dominate it. Suppress the lower egoic desire and choose the higher spiritual impulse, and victory is yours. You'll feel a surge of energy, joy, and inspiration. Give in to the lower, neglecting the higher, and you'll find yourself defeated, trapped in disappointment, discouragement, and self-reproach. A great spiritual teacher, Paul, described this inner struggle with profound accuracy. For I do not do the good I want to do, but the evil I do not want to do. This I keep on doing. So I find this law at work. Although I want to do good, evil is right there with me. For in my inner being, I delight in God's law, but I see another law at work in me, waging war against the law of my mind and making me a prisoner of the law of sin. Can you feel how deeply that resonates with your own experiences? And he also gives us the key. Live by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. But this is impossible without conscious, daily, even hourly inner work, without this sacred effort you make on your own behalf. It's often especially challenging in the beginning for those who have spent a long time living in service to their ego, those who have become accustomed to indulging its every whim, those who have bound themselves with the chains of detrimental habits and negative thought patterns. For such individuals, when they finally make the courageous decision to change their lives, to step onto the path of light and awareness, the battle ignites with extraordinary ferocity. On one side, their awakened soul calls to them, supported by the higher power. But on the other side, the old familiar desires of the ego still beckon, seeming so seductive, so normal. They pull back with incredible force, like a stubborn animal resisting being led uphill. And only the grace of the source, only your unshakable resolve and unwavering faith in your own inner light can give you the strength to stand firm and keep moving forward. Each time you refuse to yield to the ego, its grip weakens, but the struggle itself, this creative tension, doesn't cease. It simply evolves to a new, more subtle level. Therefore, my dear friend, do not deceive yourself with the illusion that you can achieve true harmony, unlock your fullest potential, and live in unity with the higher power if you are not prepared to make a daily, even hourly effort to reject and overcome all manifestations of your ego, not just the big obvious ones, but also the smallest, seemingly insignificant ones. Because it is precisely in this unwillingness to exert ourselves in this insidious self-pity, in this constant search for the easy way out, that the primary reason lies why so few people attain genuine inner transformation and lasting happiness. You see, when a person, having overcome some major negative tendencies with great difficulty, say they've stopped lying or harboring deep envy, then decides they can relax and ignore the little things, they make a profound mistake. These little things and irritability, impatience, a tendency to judge, procrastination, indulging weaknesses in food or entertainment, are the very roots and expressions of the same big problems. By satisfying these small desires of the ego, you are in fact feeding it, and so it continues to live and operate within your heart, perhaps less overtly, but just as destructively. Your heart remains unsettled, your mind restless, and most importantly, you remain trapped in self-indulgence and self-pity, which tarnish the value of any spiritual efforts you might make. Let's look at a few examples to make this clearer. Consider someone who doesn't steal or take what isn't theirs, but who is so deeply attached to their possessions that they live in fear of losing even a small part of them. On one hand, they rely too heavily on material things for security, and on the other, they find it incredibly difficult to share, to be generous, to help others from a place of pure-heartedness. Or another example, someone who doesn't pursue power or recognition through dishonest means, but deep down, they crave these things. They can't be indifferent to them, and if an opportunity arose to gain them accidentally, as it were, they wouldn't refuse. Their ego is still being fed by the idea of their own importance. And here's another. Someone meticulously observes dietary restrictions or fasts, but they are constantly preoccupied with food, always seeking ways to eat deliciously and satisfyingly within the allowed limits, thereby completely negating the very essence of the practice, which is aimed at taming desires and purifying consciousness. Or consider a person who leads an outwardly virtuous life, but continues to engage in ambiguous relationships, to flirt, to delight in attention from people who stir unhealthy excitement within them. They are unwilling to admit that by doing so, they are creating immense obstacles for themselves on the path to spiritual purity and union with the Source. And I want to draw your attention to one more very crucial area, our so-called natural character flaws. Those traits that we often think are just part of who I am. That quick temper that causes us to wound loved ones with careless words. That touchiness that makes us withdraw into ourselves. Indecisiveness, or conversely, excessive haste in judgments and actions. That gloominess and grumbling that poison life for ourselves and those around us. Stubbornness and a love for arguing that prevent us from truly hearing others and learning. Although these traits may seem ingrained, we bear full responsibility for how we manage them. If you see that a particular characteristic of yours is hindering your ability to live harmoniously, damaging your relationships, or stunting your spiritual growth, then it is your sacred duty to work on it. Not to break yourself, but to transform that aspect of your personality. With awareness, patience, consistent practice, and of course the support of the higher power, you can transform any trait, no matter how wild or stubborn it may seem. In some areas, you might need to reduce excesses. In others, you might need to cultivate what's lacking. But always approach this with love and self-acceptance, yet also with a firm resolve to change. Nothing natural can withstand the power of your conscious intention when it's armed with the light of awareness and a sincere yearning for truth. When we neglect this subtle internal work, even our good deeds remain incomplete, limping, as it were, intertwined with the secret desires of our ego, with those cravings of the world that ancient sages spoke of. The lust for pleasure, the lust for possessions, the lust for status. And then, sadly, we don't progress on the path to our true self. Instead, we stagnate, or worse, we regress, falling back into old mistakes and dependencies. This happens because we haven't fully embraced this path of light. We haven't become entirely imbued with gratitude to the source for the gift of life and freedom, and we haven't committed with absolute determination to serving love and truth. This is also the root of spiritual blindness. We cease to see the dangers we are in, complacently thinking that everything is fine, that no misfortune threatens us. Therefore, my beloved brother, my cherished sister in spirit, I implore you, learn to love this sacred effort, this blessed difficulty that inevitably accompanies our inner transformation. If you do not wish to be perpetually defeated by your ego, by your fears, and by your weaknesses. As another wise teacher said, do not despise difficult work, because everything in this inner journey, this inner battle, rests upon this foundation of willing effort. The more intensely you come to love this difficulty, this compassionate yet firm self-exertion in your growth, the quicker and more complete will be your victory over yourself, over everything within you that resists the highest good. And as a result, you will be filled with every virtue and a profound sense of well-being. And the peace of God, that deep, unshakable joy and tranquility, will take up permanent residence in your heart. Begin today, right now. Take one small conscious step. Ask yourself, which voice is speaking loudest within me in this very moment? Is it the voice of fear or the voice of love? What small manifestation of my ego can I notice and choose not to indulge today? Perhaps it's the urge to judge someone, or to feel sorry for myself, or to procrastinate on something important. Make a choice in favor of your higher self. Even the smallest effort in this direction holds immense power. Remember, you are not alone on this journey. The entire universe supports you in your aspiration towards the light. Your potential is limitless. Open yourself to it, and may every step you take be a step closer to your authentic self, to your inherent power, to your divine nature. Go forward, soul. Your time has come.